Hello, welcome back to Justin Talks Villa. The morning after the Roma victory the night before at Bescott Stadium, which I attended. So I wanted to jump on and do a little bit of a longer video about things that I noticed and enjoyed and maybe didn't enjoy so much last night. I was writing notes throughout the whole game, trying to sort of delve into where we are currently with the team, how we set up, what we are looking to achieve in the current pre-season leading into the new season next week with a starting point against Newcastle United at home. It was the last opportunity I had in the flesh to go and have a watch of them, and the first half we put out a pretty strong team. So it was really interesting to see how that team fared. And as we all know, it fared very, very well. So yes, I was there. I was taking some notes in the first half, so we'll go through a few of those things that I noticed, and we will have a chat about them. Then I'll delve a little bit deeper into how we set up and things that I noticed during the game that could be of interest as we start the season next week. If you want to comment on anything I'm going to say today, or you disagree with anything, or you notice things yourself that you think I might have missed, absolutely feel free to get in touch either in the comments section below or on justintalksvilla@yahoo.com. So firstly, let's jump into it. One seemingly good bit of news this morning is obviously Morgan Rogers came off injured after, I think it was about 7 minutes of the game. So I think I felt at the time it was more precautionary than anything else. I think he took a little bit of a knock to his ankle, and I think he just felt it, and then he tried to run it off. And I think if it had been a Premier League game or Champions League game or Europa League game, my feelings are he probably would have just carried on, and then they'd have dealt with it either at the end of the game or at half time. But yeah, the early reports are that it seems to be not very bad at all. Obviously, they will do further testing throughout the day and tomorrow, but it seems that he should be okay for Newcastle next week. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that. That was probably the only real disappointment from last night, because you don't want to see anybody get injured, and we certainly don't want to see Morgan Rogers get injured because he's so important to Aston Villa. There was also rumours circulating last night that he has indeed signed his new contract, so hopefully over the next 48 hours we will get some positive news on that regard as well. Also, rumours circulating of a Luca Dean contract, seemingly on a lower wage, but with structured additions, add-ons factored into that contract as well. I've also heard sneaky rumour that Matty Cash could also be due to sign a new contract very soon. So it seems they are trying to tie down everybody that they want to retain at Aston Villa for the medium and long term, which is all good news. So let's get into the game. Okay, things. Should we start with positives? Yeah, let's start with positives because it was a positive night, wasn't it? Fantastic from Buendía. I thought he was absolutely excellent. He looked fit. He looked focused, sharp, good on the ball. He was strong and aggressive when he received the ball, turning really well away from players. We all know his attributes and his strengths are his use of the ball, passing in the 10 role, creating chances, scoring chances, getting himself into really good positions in the pitch to make things happen. And he did all that last night. And I also thought Leon Bailey started really well. I mean, within the first 30 seconds, he took a really good touch, cut inside off that right-hand side, and really unlucky not to score early. But Buendía was the real eye-catcher in the first half for me. You know, a player that looks like he wants to retain his position within the Aston Villa squad in the current season, wants to show what he can do, and I don't think he could do any more. I really don't. I think he's a player that we could utilise next season. He's a player of quality without doubt. He's just lost his way at Aston Villa a little bit and became surplus requirements. But given the quiet summer we've had so far, is he a player that we could retain? Yes, 100%. I think everybody that was involved last night would have a part to play next season should the manager deem that necessary. So yes, he was absolutely great. I thought Bogard at right back was great as well. Really, really good. Didn't give the ball away at all. I think given that we are pretty stacked there at right back, I don't see Matty Cash leaving. Garcia's obviously currently injured, but he's a good player. And with Bogard as well now, ably playing in that role last night. Two things I noted down from that perspective was, one, that Bogard is pushing now to start against Newcastle, in my opinion, in that role. Because we saw Ezri Konsa play out at right back in this sort of a false right back position where he likes to play a sort of centre half type player there. And then you can sort of shift the three across, play three at the back, which allows your left back, which was Ian Matson last night, to get forward and supplement the left hand side with Jacob Ramsey. And I think Bogard did that job so well that I really see that as a massive positive. He has improved absolutely incredibly over the last 6 to 12 months, and he's now a bona fide for me first team regular. We did give the ball away one or two times in the first half, again trying to play out from the back, and unfortunately Tyrone Mings was the culprit a couple of occasions when it was picked off. I know this is the way we play, and this is probably always going to happen because you can't be 100% every single time you bring the ball out and pass the ball away. So it's something you have to be very, very careful with, but we really do need to start cutting out these issues going forward. And they did try and exploit us over the top a few times with the ball over the top of the back four. It didn't particularly work that well, but it's something we have seen us be very susceptible to at times last season when we've obviously pressing high up the pitch and they looked at spinning behind the centre forward, looks to get in behind the two central defenders, and the ball just played over the top. It all depends on the quality of the ball, but obviously going into the Premier League, we know that the quality of the players at that level are phenomenal. So if they've got a willing runner up top, we've got to be very, very careful that either Martinez plays very, very high line at the edge of his box, or we've got defenders capable enough to spin in and cover those issues. What else did I write down last night? Standout first half was Buendía, Bailey. I thought Watkins was excellent, held the line, held the ball up really, really well. Again, showed a lot of strength and quality in those positions. And we know what he brings to Villa. And I just thought halfway through the first half last night, I think we just cannot afford to sell Ollie. I've been put on record as saying that we could sell anybody and we would replace them. And that is still the case if the club deemed fit. But I don't want to lose him. I really don't want to lose him. I think he's so imperative to how we play him. With the Gassard deal now looking closer all the time, I think he can really dovetail so well with Ollie. As we saw with Leon Bailey last night, really, really did well. Ramsey took his goal very, very well. We'll come on to the goals in a minute. So I think it was just a really, really solid, a lovely half of football to watch going into a season with only a week to go. It'll be interesting how we do in the next two friendlies this weekend, one after another. So we'll probably see two pretty much different teams in both them games where a lot of players will get 70, 80, even 90 minutes now going into the last week prep before the Newcastle game. Bailey and Watkins were playing quite a lot up top together as a two. And at one point I noticed while watching them that Bailey nodded to Watkins and then they switched. So it's something maybe they've been working on in training. The Bailey role, that link up with Ollie playing up top, links in very nicely to the Gassand signing because of how he plays and where he plays in that half space off the right-hand side, so tucked inside a little bit. So we'll go on to that in a minute. I'll sort of explain what I mean by that. So that's sort of like they're working on that already with Gassand maybe in mind, or Bailey, or obviously can play that way as well. And we all know that a fully fit and firing Leon Bailey, he's a very good player. 2 seasons ago, he was one of our best players. So can we get him anywhere near back back there again? Maybe. I mean, he still could leave. We know that. That's fine. So yeah, it was very, very interesting. But at times we was playing a 4-2-2-2 with Bailey and Watkins up top, and then we saw Ramsey and Buendía sitting in behind, and then Tielemans and Kamara. But again, I'll go through all this when I look at these tactics. So let's have a look at this. So this was our attack last night. So the lighter colours is where the highest concentration of play is. Just make sure my camera's not done. That's it. So that's where the highest concentration of play is. So as you can see, we saw a lot of the ball at the back, and Bogard, especially in the first half, saw a lot of it. And as we've seen a lot this season, last season, since Unai's come in, he likes the left-hand side to be our supplementary attacker, which Ian Matson is obviously very, very good at. So that was our main source of attacks down the left-hand side, which feeds into this philosophy of playing sort of Bogard at that false right-back position, which allows then to switch to a 3 at the back and allow the left-back to really get forward and attack. So here we go with my little tactics board. Right, I'm going to find the right. Here we go. Now, I've got to thank James Alcott for this, because he's brought this out this week and I've been playing with it a lot. I'm not going to be brilliant at it, but I'm going to try my best to help me explain what I am thinking about us coming up to next season. I'll be looking to the right because this is where I'm able to move the bits and bobs about. So excuse me for not looking straight down the camera at you. So this is how we set up start of the game. The usual Matson, Mings, Konsa, Bogard, Kamara, Tielemans in the double pivot, with Buendía playing in the 10. Ramsey off the left and Leon Bailey picking up the right-hand side position with Ollie Watkins up top. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Like I said to you, there was times where we did play that role of the 4-2-2-2 with 2 up top, 2 in behind, the 2 double pivots with Matson attacking, which allowed Mings, Konsa and Bogard then to sort of sit and defend at the back, which then transferred when we went forward, so with a sort of a high press. One of the things, like I said, is making sure that Emi Martinez patrols the edge of his D, probably to make sure that we're not susceptible to being picked off by the long baller over the top. So basically, by tucking Bogard into this 3 centre halves, it allows Ian Matson to get forward on that left-hand side. It allows Tielemans and Kamara to dictate play in the middle and prompt. And I've got a couple of stills in a bit, which hopefully will explain that as well. And then it allows Ramsey to tuck inside to allow Matson to get forward. Ollie Watkins, that we want to just see, if I'm brutally honest, I really just want to see him patrolling this penalty box. This is where I want Ollie Watkins all next season. I want him in here, causing damage, scoring goals. We've seen 3 or 4 very, very good headers this window. So that's where I want him to be doing most of his work, which will allow Buendía or Rogers to be here causing trouble, and then Leon Bailey to cut inside, or is it Gassond, whoever it is in this half space here. What I mean by half space is, if I look at this here is the half space. So these little areas, not in the middle of the pitch and not out wide, these are the areas where Gassond and Ramsey, or Bailey and Ramsey, are going to be doing their damage, and then that allows Matson to tick in here on the left-hand side. As we saw on that graphic earlier, if we show it again, that's where we did our damage. This is where we did our damage last night. So that is why I think it is very, very important to make sure that somebody can play here in this position that can just tuck in. Because we did see defensively last season, we were very, very susceptible. We conceded far too many goals. So this player here, Boubacar Kamara, obviously becomes very, very important, shielding across here, making sure that we don't overcommit. Because with this group of players here, if we look at this is where, most of our goals are going to come from. This is where our threat will start from, causing these problems all over the pitch. Then we go on to the last slide, which I prepared earlier. Now, this is why these players are so important. This interlinking of play, these triangles all over the front, it's so important. that this is where we build from. So we need to get up the pitch, and we need this group of players to make sure that we are at the edge of this box with a high press, and then we can prompt, and Tielemans and Kamara, Buendía or Rodgers, whoever it is, Bailey can get inside and cause havoc. So we just need to make sure that when we go forward, we retain the ball, which is how our game is totally possessed by. Ball retention is so important to allow us to get into these kind of areas to cause teams trouble, and then make sure the movement's good enough and the passing is very good in these final third areas. So we'll go back to this one now, and we'll just change the pitch back to where we were at the start. So yeah, this is how I hope we will set up come Newcastle next week. Whether I think it's going to be difficult, Mings or Pau. I think it'll probably go with Pau. Concert, I think he's a shoe-in. At the moment, I think I will plump for Bogard. Kamara and Tielemans probably pick themselves at the moment. If he's fit, Rodgers will slot in there. I think currently Ramsey definitely plays off the left. And it probably will be Bailey unless Aston comes in and hits the ground running very quickly. You'll probably see him off the bench. But that is sort of how I saw us last night. So, yes, what do you think about my thoughts on this? Am I totally wide of the mark? Am I getting into territory that I know nothing about? Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. So this is the other really interesting part of this tactics board. So we'll start with... Now, I was at the game last night and I had a brilliant angle of Emi Buendia's goal. So if we look at it here, this is, they often say if you're very tight in on the box, so we wasn't even at the edge of the D here. If you were very tight in at the edge of the box, it is very, very difficult to get the ball, if we have a look at this, over and down like that. That is a very difficult technique to do. And I think I've seen a few of the stills coming out from the game, and he basically, it's the instep of his right foot, so just below where his toes are, and he wraps his foot around it to allow the ball to dip enough to get it in here. Now let's see how good I am at this. What? Did I get the line right? Not a million miles away. But if you can see, he's just, the ball only just clears the jumping defender. So if we look at this now, very slow. The jumping defender, if I pause it, actually, I think this is... See, I'm learning. This is all new technology again. I'm trying to bring you the best I can possibly bring you, so give me some chance to get used to this. So if we just move it on slightly, I am... Right, if we take the arrows off. Okay, right, that's off now. So if we look now, so if I slow this right down, I mean, the technology is brilliant here, isn't it? Look at this. So he struck the ball there. We'll bring it right down to the slowest possible angle. You've got the... what do they call it? Draft excluder here, which I never really understand because the amount of people that don't do that, it's unbelievable. So if we start it again, you can see there that exactly what I was talking about, that instep. It's just on the instep of his big toe on his right-hand side, and then it's sort of side-footed it and then trying to get the whip across over the ball to allow it to come down. And you look at that, look how tight. If we can go back one frame, I think. Look how tight that is. If it's any lower, the defender clears it. If it's any higher, as we'll see in a minute, it hits the crossbar and probably doesn't go in. So this is pinpoint accuracy from Emi Buendía. So you saw that, you see that there. That is unbelievable. It is literally centimetres from the crossbar, and the keeper's got no chance. He's come across full stretch, can't get in. So it is a wonderful, wonderful goal from Buendía. We'll play once more in full time. Fabulous. What a goal that is. So pleased I caught that on camera. So then we'll move on to the Jacob Ramsey goal. So as I was sort of explaining on the tactics board, that when we push forward, we have the back four, well, what is essentially the back three. We can't see all of them in this picture, but we've got, let me just take that off. What's this one? So this is Bogard, and then over here would be Concert, and then over there would be Mings. That's your back four. And then we've got, which I was saying on the other slide, you've got Ian Martson there, and then inside in the half space, Jacob Ramsey. You've got Ollie Watkins leading the line. You've got Leon Bailey cutting inside in this instance. And then you've got Buendía there picking up that space there on the right-hand side. So we've got essentially 5 players here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all at the edge of the box. And by pressing up to the halfway line, it allows our 2 double pivots to become playmakers. I mean, Yuri Tielemans is absolutely exemplary in this role, as we know. Boubacar Kamara can also do it, but I think Tielemans is the real string puller, quarterback, if you like, in this instance and this role at Aston Villa. So then we'll move it on to the next one. So you've got Matson out left. The right back is having to pick this area up here because he doesn't want anything to come around the back of him, so he's having to cut inside, which then means that the right-sided midfielder has to track the runner here with Ramsey, but he loses him just for a split second, which allows Ramsey to get on his back shoulder. The midfielders don't know what to do. You've got 3 here, none really engaging with Tielemans, so that allows him to look. And then what he does absolutely brilliantly is he can look and think, where do I need the ball to go? Who's making me a run? And then all he needs to do is make sure that ball is fed perfectly into the run of Jacob Ramsey, whilst the defenders here are being occupied by these 3 players here, which allows Ramsey to run in behind through this gap. The right back has switched off. Tielemans is absolutely on it. He knows exactly what he's doing with the ball. They haven't closed him down quick enough, which allows him then to move on, feed the ball through. Defender that just hasn't tracked him is now 2 yards off him, so can't do much about it. And then Ramsey's in on goal. And he's got that much space to run into that there's never any question that he's going to do anything other than go in on goal and try and slot it past the keeper, which he does with absolute perfection. So this is why I think it is so important, we'll clear this, that when we press up high, we don't lose the ball. Because if we're losing the ball in these positions here, if Tielemans is closed down too much, or the ball's just nicked off him, or that pass isn't absolutely to perfection, then we've got, like I said, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players out the game there. So that's why, and they've committed to 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and probably 1 up top. We're going to be broken on, and this is where we could have a lot of issues. So we've got to make sure that ball retention is very good. And we've got these players here who are all willing to make runs in for the team. As I say, it could have, Matson could have gone down the line. Ramsey's making a run in here. Ollie Watkins is coming to see if he needs the ball off him, offer him an option. Leon Bailey's offering an option. And then we've got Emi Buendía over here as maybe another option in case he wanted to feed the ball, which is, another option. We've seen Yuri Tillemans more than capable then to just lift the ball over the top into the space there as well for Emi Buendía to run onto. So there you go. That's my little bit of a tactical breakdown on Aston Villa. Thank you very much to James Alcott for his absolutely brilliant equipment. So yes, what do you think? Do you enjoy these kinds of chats? I probably won't be able to do them all the time because it's quite time consuming and I've given myself so much to do with this podcast. But I'm enjoying every minute of it. We've got the Monday night phone in coming Monday night, which will be the season's predictions. So that should be exciting, where you can come and tell me where you think we're going to finish, how good a season are we going to have. I am busy editing my Dennis Mortimer interview, which hopefully will be out over the weekend at some point when I have finished it. It's a fantastic chat with one of the Villa legends of all time. So yeah, thank you very much for getting involved. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, get involved in the comment section. There are subscriptions available. I do want to improve all the time. I do want to make sure that this content is the best it can possibly be. I'm putting every single minute of my spare time into this to make it as good as it possibly can be. I thank you all for your kind words. I met loads of people last night who said they love the content. It means a lot. It means that it gives me that confidence to keep doing it and keep improving and keep looking for stuff that I can improve it with. This JLL tactics board is absolutely incredible. And as you can see, as I get more used to it and the season progresses with things, I'll hopefully be able to use it for so many different angles and interesting things to bring to you. So yes, there we go. Little bit of a chat about Roma and how we played, and a bit of a diagnosis about the goals, diagnostics for you, delving into it. I'm going to stop rambling now because I feel like I'm just going on. I'll speak to you all soon. Up the Villa.